And for whatever reason, my overhead is just not responding. I think I've got to resync it. Ah, fucking thing. Right on. Oh, forgot to change up that track. I get better at that, eh? Oh, well, that's not going to help me at all. Right on. And so, having destroyed the De La Vega legacy, the adventurers escape its deadly guardian and run away, leaving one dead behind them. Their fates in question, their future dark. They now face the city's morning fires and pyres. The protests rage all around you as the sun rises. Contrast shadows clawing down upon all around from buildings, spiring around in the distance and sitting squat and yet still foreboding nearby. You hear the rousing voices, the clashes in the distance, the blood-curdling screams of so many, coming to arms, coming at each other. My man Laz, being represented as by Sean, I should say, by Sean, our faithful keeper of time and loggings. You weren't here last session, and it's going to be, I'm assuming, well, you were here last session, but midway through, and we never got the summarization of the last session before that. So now, I'm assuming you have two summaries, or maybe not.
I can read both.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm trying to get back.
How's the sound, by the way? How's the sound for everybody? Everybody's good? All right. Who's watching on the stream? Anybody watches on the stream?
I am.
How's the audio on the stream? Man, that fucking.
Some of you guys start talking, have a conversation.
Want to hear the sound?
Yeah. So on my end, it's kind of quiet, so maybe somebody else should give an opinion on the stream.
So which is quiet? Just the whole of the stream in general?
Yeah.
Alright, I know how to fix that.
Also, don't forget about experience. We missed that last.
Oh, did we? Oh, fuck, sorry.
Last session.
That is true. Fuck, actually,
Sounds good now.
what level are you guys? 5, 6?
7.
Some of you, yeah. Go with 1200 experience for last session. That's subtractions. There's been subtractions.
Do I get experience for running away like a pussy?
Like I said, there are
You
subtractions.
should get extra.
Sensibility bonus. This new Mortal Kombat sucks. Sensibility.
Leveled up, fine.
Man, keep lighting this thing, keeps going. Just gonna drench him in fucking lighter fluid. Right on. With the dramatic music going, my man Sean again, please do regale me.
Sure. So going back 2 sessions, we had Tishburo in the distance when the engine died. Captain Iron Anchor says we got nothing else to do, so let's get drunk. We split all the people in the party, finally agreed to pull, push, and try and get the vehicle moving. There's a vessel coming at us with a banner and wine glasses. It approaches and comes to a stop above us. A halfling drops off the side of the vehicle. Orion greets him, and Laz stands behind Orion to see what's going on. Asks if they want to talk to Muy Ilustino?
Elistino.
It's a rolling tavern of the Great Race. It's a traveling liquor salesman and trader. We all head up to the floating bar. Orion and the others are following the other guy. Muy welcomes everybody. He's willing to help us out for a trade. We'll only take people for free, but the bus will take a fee. He wants 4 platinum coin. Bjorn covers the price. We get the tow. Orion gets a drink in with Iron Anchor. Sorth is looking for a bite like usual. Bjorn is trying to help a few of the other survivors. Barry's pissed about the bus and drinking his sorrow away, but is fortunate. Laz is belly up to the bar for a drink and a bite, maybe a game of chance. Everyone eats dinner, takes a nap. We're pulling into the city. There's an active riot going on. Security is keeping them away from the paddocks. The check-in notes that the bus made it in, dragged behind the tavern. And the people are cursing or curing the bus, but not the tavern. Movie pulls up alongside Barry. Barry asks to be taken to the paddocks, and we get dropped off outside the garage. Officials come to check us in. We aren't supposed to be in the city after dark. Genso Morsi is there. The survivors stay on the taverna, including Iron Anchor, who heads to a hotel. Bjorn and Laz are taking a break. The other guys are taking a ride in the city with Muy. Orion is talking with Ironbreaker. Orion's going for a walk. Barry's looking for parts. Sorth runs off for food, like usual, finds the store, grabs meat, runs back to the bus, hoping not to get caught by the city guards. Orion is catching a ride with Mooey Mooey. Two young men flag down the ship, hop on board. They got red sashes on with a crudely drawn something, maybe a beetle on their outfits. Orion and Barry go to approach the young men. The guys are sailors. On their sashes are scarabs. Tell them about a fight with the scarabs that we had out in the desert. The men then leave the bar, jump off the moving vessel. Tavern ship comes about to a junkyard. Orion and Barry are going into the junkyard, and Sorth is with them, and they're searching the junkyard. They see a hut in the distance and hear a growling and a big set of footprints. Sorth readies his bow. Orion is up on a platform looking out, and Barry's calling out to, well, anybody. Flaming dog comes around the corner. Another one comes around the corner, and Orion yells to Barry to check the shack. Barry tells Orion to get to the shack. Orion goes to the vehicle to honk the horn. The dogs are pissed and takes a run at Sorth, and Sorth fires away and kills one of the first dogs. And then a fucking transformer golem comes out of the junk. Barry uses acid breath on the transformer and does 9 damage. Orion misses a shot from the higher ground. Tried to hit Sorth but misses. The golem hits the platform Orion is on. He takes a fall from there and takes some damage. Sorth tries to run by but gets caught for 26 points of damage and takes a pot shot in return. Orion gets a shot off. The golem hits the pile where Orion is again and gets hurt again. The golem bashes Sorth. Lazarus is in to try and get to the crane. Barry unleashes arcane fire and does a little bit of damage. Laz sees a man sleeping in the hut and throws a rock to rouse the old man. Barry makes an attack and follows up with a turret. Orion climbs out of the rubble. Bjorn crits on Booming Blade and uses spiritual damage and goes cray. The old man comes out, sees the fight, yawns, and goes back inside. Barry runs off to talk to the old man. The old man is Silas. This is his junkyard. Orion steps in and says, "We're here on behalf of the Dragors," and Silas calls him out. We admit we're in the race and need repairs, and he's willing to let us grab our gear. But he trails off in the conversation. Orion walks out. There's a big rig sitting outside. Laz motions to the doors on a building and lifts up the door. Inside, there's a number of strange things. There's a large, sleek platform, and there are articles, trophies, something about Ricardo winning the race, Fazul, who is sponsoring. Silas notices Orion with a parchment about Rico, and Orion gives him the signet ring as well. Orion lets the old man know that Rico is dead. Realize that this is maybe his dad. I have this as an aside, but then told that he's not a De La Vega. Orion relates the story of Rico and the sister. Rico was trying to keep the family safe, and Orion was asking about the racer. Discusses it with Barry about needing a ship in the race, and the old man wants the vehicle in the race, but there's no De La Vega to drive it. They ask the old man to come with us. He says no. We ask who could replace him. Lavash, who we know from Memnon, and he visits family here in town. We need a pilot. Apparently Sophie had a suitor who may have been an even better driver. The old man sends us out of his bedroom, and Barry goes to the yard. And last we saw there, Barry's kind of rummaging around the yard trying to look for stuff, and Orion's in a vehicle sleeping. To the next one, I missed the first part of the story. I can fill in. When I came into it, we're in the junkyard. Bjorn was pulling out a crate and shoving it onto the bus with some plates, some new armor for the bus. Tall, slender figure. We cut to a separate scene with a tall, slender figure in a coat and a frame of a small dwelling. Multiple people on a bench. It's a doctor that's helping people. Protesters are making their way away from the building, and the protesters are heading for the guards. Felix is the name that came up and coughs on the protester and just healed him somehow by coughing on him. We go back to the bus. Barry's trying to fix it. We're still trying to figure out how to fix the ballista. We see a salvageable cannon, maybe another cannon, some hoses, some pumps, maybe trying to get a search on. Orion's trying to get the old race vehicle up and running, and he hears the vehicle kind of turning over, is trying to get that cleaned up. Sneaks into the old man's hut, finds nothing. Heads back to the vehicle and tries to take off the panel. Orion asks the old man for help, and the old man says no, and he seems like the old man is carrying a key on his neck. Orion tries to trip the old man and gets absolutely caught, and then here comes the goddamn golem again. Orion's running for the race vehicle. Bjorn tries to help the old man. The golem rips open the garage. The old man calls off the golem, which falls on Orion. The old man then calls the golem back to life again. Bjorn bargains to take Orion's life, to take Orion away. The old man goes to take a souvenir, to pull the ball off of him, and Bjorn kills the old man. So Orion lost a nut, the golem hit Bjorn, Sorth, Barry, and Laz are joining the fray. And poison breath kills all of us. Laz, Orion, Barry, Bjorn. Sorth grabs Barry out of the gas cloud and uses Healing Word. The golem hits Sorth in the building, and Sorth is done. The Barry is running away. The slender figure is running down the block with the guards chasing him. That's, I guess, a cut across. Felix is at the gate of the junkyard and says, "Hell no," and just walks away. Orion is dead as a doornail. Sorth hears Bjorn. Bjorn heals Laz. Bjorn grabs Orion. Sorth is running in. Barry is running for the bus. We all hop in the bus and just crash out of the junkyard. We get a Molotov cocktail thrown at us on the way out. Orion has a fantastic death scene that I couldn't even capture in words. I'd have to go back and re-summarize it all. And there's a never-ending bar. I know that part was in there. And then last was a question mark. That's what I got.
Laz was a question mark?
No, the last thing was the question mark on the experience.
Oh yeah, experience. That was 1,200 in the end, with a couple subtractions. Fantastic stuff. And with that, we do open up with a Molotov cocktail, bursting out in front of you as you rage forth, the engine chuffing best it can with the few repairs that you've thrown upon it. As the wrenching steel rips away from the front of the van, you find yourself in the open streets faced with a whole bunch of militants spread around, various guardsmen represented in their regal suits of armor stained and dented with blood pooling all around them, the red swashing in the dust as the many folks scream and jeer towards you. Another Molly being prepared. At this point, you have two directions. You can drive through the mass or you can drive away from the mass in the T-junction of a street you've found yourself in. Who's driving?
Believe
I
it was
think-
me.
Yeah, I think Varian popped in the seat.
Where are you going? You don't think the bus can make it through the people.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on going through the people.
You look down the other direction, and best you can see, it curves slightly and hits another T-junction.
Yeah, that's the route I'll go. Take the chance.
Revving the engine such, the bus rips around. Everybody swerves slightly as you pick up speed. The engine roars and chuffs as you find yourself approaching the edge. The screaming and jeering fades quickly as the engine roars louder and louder. As you reach the T-junction, you slow down, or do you just drift off left or right? How frantically are you driving? How fast do you go?
Honestly, at this point, just average, because I'm not in real danger, right?
Right. As you come towards the corner, allowing yourself to slow down, gearing the engine such, it whines hard as you chuff to a slow roll, heading which direction?
Take a left. Did you hear me?
No. I don't know. Did you say something? Did you glitch out there while I was loading this? Sorry, maybe.
I think I might be lagging a little bit.
I just started loading a soundboard, and it's, the guy updated the software, and so now it's, when it's loading, it's really brutal. So I'm probably chugging along as it's processing each of these files. I don't know what the hell it's doing in this version. But the funniest part about it is that in his update notes, he's like, did a complete rewrite from the ground up, made it really efficient, loads so much faster. Yeah, I guess. Must be using like 18 threads here, and every single one of them. Oh, a cap of 3 gigs. What's the problem? For memory, you know, whatever. Anyhow, where were we? Is as you roll towards the valvulus chuffing, bleeding a bit of oil at the edges where the seals are holding just, you immediately see the glimmer of armor off to the right as a small crowd of soldiers, seems to be just fresh out of a fight, looks towards you, and a few of them point as they begin to retreat backwards into defensive positions in the nearby cover, not sure of what to make of you. You see behind them suddenly the silhouettes of several individuals, a crowd of the protesters coming into view some distance behind them down the street. What do? The left road is clear, the right road has another fight just waiting to explode.
Gotta take a left. We cannot afford to be in a fight right now.
As you turn the corner, kicking it into gear, you drive away down the street, passing by several of the buildings. You find yourself in an open space. It seems somewhat peaceable as you look around, and the terrible wind blowing show the silhouettes of many bodies, torn structures and flags and banners, smashed urns and walls. Looking all around, the damage on this side of the city shows the true nature of this protest is coming forth. The true power of this protest is taking hold. You see many weapons littered about, many bodies littered about as you roll past them, doing your best to avoid getting stuck on random obstacles in the sandy field here. Coming across to the other side, you see there's 3 ways out of here. There's a northerly road, northeast, and then straight east. You can go one or the other. But you know that heading up towards this corner of the city, that's going to be heading towards your base. Heading actually out towards the race paddocks.
Yeah, I think that's the direction to go because Barium knows that the bus is not really in 100% working condition.
As the engine continues to roll along, you guys are watching in the back as oil is bleeding out the side. You watch as it begins to bubble a little more and a little more as Barium is keeping the engine steady, steering through the...
Barry, we got a problem back here.
What is it?
We got a leak.
Oh, for the love of... I gotta take it easy. We have to make it back to the garage.
As the pooling liquid dribbles down the side and you guys continue to watch it continue to watch the engine, it starts to rattle more and more as a few more streets go by. You pick your way through the peaceful destruction all around, making your way towards the exit areas. You see up ahead that you've got another fork coming up and a bit of a courtyard between them. You also see that there's a large crowd of individuals. They seem to be encircled around a bunch of guards. They're holding them and tying them, and it looks like they're going to be stringing them up to a nearby gallows of some makeshift fashion. A bunch of logs and such have been assembled into an H pattern, haphazardly, an A frame of sorts. You see the few armored individuals, mostly stripped of their weapons, gear, clothing, etc. A few of them still holding armlets or a breastplate upon their body, being wrapped up as you roll towards the fork in the road. Several of the crowd look towards you. The roads here are wide. You could easily steer around them, but already you can see a few of them look towards you aggressively. A few of them begin to swarm left and right, making to block the bus's path. You can see them shouting. You can see the ferocity in their faces. And in the morning heat and sunlight, everything bright and apparent, you can see that they mean to prevent your escape. It looks like there's a massive swarm up ahead. I guess I gotta get the camera shared here.
Aren't they protesting the Great Race? Could heading to the paddocks not be the best idea? By the way, do we ever? So we don't have any armaments on this vehicle right now, right?
No.
The ballista was busted. The cannon's down.
We got some armor back on it though.
That is true.
And I'm pretty sure most of us are still beat up.
Have we been driving for an hour by any chance?
You know what? Yeah, very cautiously, I'm gonna say. For about an hour. Sure, that works.
Oh
boy. Sounds like perfect amount of time for a short rest.
Except for me, I'm still going.
You stub your toe, you take damage, doesn't count.
I'm still 6 HP. I haven't rested at all. If Blaz has any concerns, I mean, he can speak up. Any of you can. I mean, you want me to run the crowd over? I mean, just shout it out.
With the short rest, you get to roll a hit die. How does that work?
As many as you like, but you don't get your hit dice back till a long rest.
Okay. And how do you find out how many hit die do you have?
If you click your character, go to the menu and click short rest.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of little square boxes you can
Oh,
click
okay,
through.
okay. Gotcha.
Yes. Just like
You have
this.
to run over Mo on the right.
Yes.
I know the bus is in rough shape, but how's everyone else?
I'm in pretty bad shape. Feeling a little better. I had some time to get myself bandaged.
Yeah, I had enough time to lick my wounds.
What about Orion?
I can't lick him.
He's
Look, you
I don't
can.
think there's anything we can do for him.
What do you mean?
He's dead.
Now's not the time to joke.
You saw what that golem did to us. He was who he was after.
Stupid son of a bitch. Guys, we have a lot of problems coming up. I don't know how well we'll be able to get past this crowd.
Hide this a bit.
I'm picturing like Dawn of the Dead style. Zombies swarming the bus.
Pretty much.
I think
I don't know.
just hold it steady and they'll move.
Run them down if they don't.
Can they get in?
Not if we go fast enough.
How far do we walk that hatch?
So you had a fork up ahead, like you say, and then you got crowd.
Can't afford another fight right now. The bus can't take it either. We have some armor, but no weapons on the bus besides the ones we carry.
We should steal the hatch in the drawer.
We have to get back to our garage somehow.
Don't worry, guys, I'll save you from across the world.
Did you guys hear that voice?
You'll be fine. The captain will see us through.
I'm gonna use another healing potion.
Oh, you can
Our
maybe
last
short rest.
captain
You probably
died.
have some hit dice.
Yeah, I can do that.
In all honesty, I can't. You guys
Yeah.
can.
Maybe get a potion to bury and take some time to rest up.
You have a straw for that.
Oh, how come I didn't heal when I took the short rest? There we go. Oh, I gotta roll a hit die. That's why.
I can only drink potions through a straw.
I shall also mention, as you guys are coming towards, you can see other people around.
Doesn't help us. What's going on here?
That sort of shit. Like that and that. That.
This
And
is
finally, that. And that.
Alright, what am I screwing up with this?
Cool.
Just that little troublemaker.
Yeah, that'll work.
Alright, I thought this was supposed to like automatically add a hit die on, but I'm guessing it's not doing that. So I'm just gonna record what we're doing. What was the first roll?
Cool. So as I was saying, you guys are coming towards, and up ahead, you see what you see. a massive field of peoples spread about, protesting as they string up a set of guards. Now amidst them, let's see here, amidst them, oh, this sounds people. Where's my town guard? Now amidst them, you can see one particular individual.
Sorry, Barry, you took a potion, right? 44
haven't
plus
did
4.
anyone.
Said you were taking 44 plus 4.
How can I take one? I'm driving.
And I think you could one for a little bit.
Chug it there, buddy.
One of us can hold the wheel.
What is what's the
44. 44 plus 4.
So as I was saying, you see one amongst the many who happens to be quite the loudmouth, leading the pack, it seems, telling people this and that, yelling and pointing towards the guards as many of them jeer in kind and continue to do what you're watching them do. The guards themselves seem woozy at best. Every so often, one of them gets hit with something nearby. As the camera pans against the facade of the bus and shows you driving along and shows up ahead, what do you guys do? You see people on the rooftops nearby. You see people out on the balconies, overlooking the courtyard ahead.
They're everywhere. We might need to turn around.
This isn't even go in reverse anymore.
That's a
I don't
good
think we have
question.
enough oil.
What
Yeah,
should we do, guys?
do we take our chances with the protesters, or do we take our chances with the guards?
Well, the protesters are executing the guards, correct?
It certainly looks that way.
Okay.
And what I mean is, are we rescuing the guards, or are we joining the protesters?
Excellent question. However, we pause this moment amidst you as we cut away to show a face in the darkness, the shadow of a nearby statue, overlooking the crowd below. A stoic, strong, and stout figure stands at the edge, the precipice of the building, looking down upon that loudmouth. One of the many lieutenants. You look upon him with his drab, otherwise garb, but you recognize that little wristlet that he's holding around his arm, that little strand of red. And as your eyes focus in and the camera pans and zooms down upon the wrist to show your eagle eyes paying so much attention to this individual, we see the little metal beetle thing hanging off of his wristlet. As you look down at this individual, you recognize him. You don't know his name, but you've seen him palling around with the leader of the band of rebels responsible for this chaos. And as the camera pans against your face, do you have a beard?
Talking to me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I got a beard.
Alright. Is it big or is it like regal or what is that?
It's well kept, and it's quite large, but it's like I take care of it.
Fair
It's
enough.
not
Alright. With that said, as the camera pans against you, you see the vehicle up ahead, chuffing and puffing away as it smolders and smokes. It seems to slow slightly as the pilot perhaps is unsure of what to do next. The camera comes into like a sort of split screen and goes into slow motion as we show the crew inside through the windshield. And then next to that is your face, half in darkness, half in sunlight, as you're looking down.
Is the vehicle somewhat close to me?
The vehicle
Like, can I
is
jump
somewhat
on it?
close to you. No, the vehicle is
Is
nowhere
there-
close to you. The vehicle is like here, and you're like over there. You're in here.
Okay. And the guy that's blabbering, where is he?
Excellent question. Actually, let's pick a special guy. The great pointing guy. Awesome. Yeah, that guy. There he is in the center of it all. I guess we gotta get you like a dwarven monk here.
And this guy blabbering, he's clearly. You said he's one of the giving the guards orders. He's not one of the.
He is absolutely one of the rebels. He is giving the rebels orders. He is leading the rebels.
Okay.
Leading the chaos.
You guys got this. I believe in you.
Did you guys hear that voice again?
Anyhow, so anybody can go here.
We never really paid attention to why this was all happening, did we?
Haven't really looked into that. Haven't really had a chance, eh?
Yeah, so like, not really sure how we would pick a side here.
We were kind of busy getting killed.
We get
Meanwhile, the
close,
rebellion
and whoever attacks us, we run them over.
I think I remember doing
Does this thing have enough juice to do that?
Probably not.
Can I hear what that guy's yelling at them?
Say what now?
Can I hear what that guy is instructing?
100%. 100%. String them up. These fools represent people who don't care about you. These people represent, and he's actually shouting this in Kalashite, which you totally understand and are fluent in, because why the fuck not? And so he's shouting out, string them up. They represent those that don't care about you, those who would hold you as slaves to a world that doesn't care about you at all. That sort of thing. Rope them up, string them up, tie them up, beat them up, do it all. That sort of thing.
Okay. I'll take a knee, like kneeling down, and I'll rest my hand on top of it, and I'll just keep listening in quietly, waiting for something to happen or for me to change my mind.
All right, sounds good. You can see in the distance that there are several people on various balconies, not doing much of anything but watching it play out. It's very difficult to tell, in some cases, who's who in terms of the rebels, but for the most part, you can see that if they're large and military seeming, if they look like they were part of the Navy here in Teshburo, chances are they're part of the rebellion. For the record, you don't actually know what the people are angry about. You just know that this particular organization is seeking to gain power through the foothold of this rebellion.
Okay. And are any of my brethren nearby? Or am I on my own?
So far as you know, they should be here soon.
Okay.
Say, where the fuck did I look on? That guy. Alright, we'll go with these ones.
Snooter, where did you end off last time? Are
He
you
is
still running to the
currently situated in the streets, and as you guys are rolling towards this intersection, we cut away for the brief moment to observe that.
You said up in the streets.
Yeah, you'd still be on the other side of town for the moment where there was where the junkyard was. That said,
By the
though,
way, I'm not sure if you went over it, but why was I being chased by guards?
so yeah, how about that? Long and the short.
Give me the long story. I'd like to.
Yeah, no doubt.
In full detail.
As we cut away and show a particular long-coated individual picking his way past the junkyard where the Guardian storms about, angry and desperate for vengeance. It hits the edge of the perimeter of the place and can go no further. It howls metallically in the distance as you look back towards it, and as you stare forth towards the camera, it pans through your trucks through your eye, and a moment later we see the inside of your office where you were helping so many folks out so kindly. I hope this one doesn't suck. Is this the one? Don't fail me. No, come on. There it is.
Are you using the soundboard?
I tried to get the music up. It wasn't playing for me.
Yeah,
As,
I can't hear either.
Oh, you can't hear the music?
Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Very
Yeah.
slight. I can.
It's faint, but I can. Oh, it's gone now.
It's gone now?
It's back.
It's back.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear it, but it's very, very quietly. And it that cuts in and out.
How's that?
That's good. I can hear it now.
I still can't tell what it is myself.
That seems really loud.
I
Anyway.
can hear it slightly now.
Crap, trying to find a balance there is difficult.
They should let us turn people up individually in this program.
Just blast it. Who cares about our ear?
It's his ears.
Yeah, it really is.
His
I mean,
family.
there we are.
Said, fuck your ears, Uli.
It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
I appreciate that. Cool. Sorry, where was I? Oh yeah. We show you in your office. This little makeshift place that you've been for a few days, weeks now, just over a week maybe. As the next person comes through, suddenly someone bursts past them. The individual bumped by suddenly gives a bit of a shriek / moan as they look towards the impending individual who stares forth at you and says, "Doctor, no, you must go, run. Quickly, there are many who come. We will hold off as long as we can." And he turns around. As he does, you watch a crossbow bullet sail past it, up into the door frame, just past his face as he looks towards, and a hail more come towards. He rolls out of the way just in the nick of time as you watch them each, in succession, nail against the wall and the door.
I tell him, no, stay here. And then I proceed to jump out the window. The closest window nearest to me.
Alright, that's fine.
Prepared specifically for an escape plan. Even though this rickety old shack has been...
No, for sure. You've had time to totally. You use the spring-loaded chair that you pull the lever on, and it just launches you right out of there. You spring out through the window. It fires you about 20 feet out, and the little parachute slows you down, and it kind of just like lowers you to the ground and starts you walking. So you don't actually lose any speed either.
Is there any guards around me? Do they see me? Fly out the window.
Sorry, the table kept rolling away. So, as I was saying, you rush out into the street and you can already see the many rebels, that some of them whom you just patched up, fighting valiantly, raging towards the guards, some of them cut down in a moment, some of them fighting and taking down one of the guards. As the conflict rages behind you, the sounds of gruesome battle echoing around the buildings. You look ahead of you and can see this street stretching away, and in the distance, a large rolling building on wheels, oddly enough. You see many banners hanging off it, on the banners, you see a large wine glass.
Was this before or after I met the huge ass golem?
This is before. Long before.
Well, the huge ass building on wheels will probably attract attention, so I would rather avoid that area.
Okay. So you're looking towards yourself. Towards the building where the street stretches away, or looking behind yourself down the opposite direction where the rebels are holding off the guards. You can try to sneak past the battle to get to get a fork, to get to the fork beyond, where you can either go south or west, or south or east from where you are.
I'll sneak past and go. I'll go west.
Okay. East, I said. And roll stealth.
I got 23.
You easily pick your way against the scenery, finding your way through the buildings onto the other side of the battle, and continue along the roadway. The destruction all around you is remarkable from the many conflicts that have taken place. You can see bodies littering all around. It is, to say the least, a terrible scene.
How's the smell?
Surprisingly, it is not sickening as of yet. It is, the smell of flesh has not quite permeated, although the smell of blood absolutely is everywhere, along with the moisture that comes from battle afterwards. You don't see...
strange feeling in the pit of my stomach from the blood.
As you continue to walk along, picking through the city streets, you can see various buildings boarded up as opposed to destroyed, and from within them, a few individuals seem to be peering out towards, curious as to the state of the outdoors. As you continue along, the streets eventually begin to regain some semblance of sanity. You begin to see people walking about again as you see more and more guards. Civilization taking over as you're suddenly approached by a few of several who form a wall as you come to the perimeter of what you expect where the guards are trying to hold the last vestige of control they may have in Teshburo.
I'm just a normal citizen. Please let me pass.
What?
I am just a normal citizen. Please let me pass.
One of the guards looks towards you as the couple of them approach, and says, "You don't look so healthy, Effendi. No disease can come into here, you understand."
You mean the riot?
The riot's not so much a problem here, but you look like you have the rot. He stares you up and down. You are very pale, Effendi. Perhaps you should see the doctor before you enter. Please, if you wish to enter, see that tent. And he points you towards a small pavilion where you sight a few individuals situated about with bandages on cots, etc.
Please, I am the doctor.
Oh, then you are here to help, I assume.
Yes, after I get this leg patched up and I show him like a completely unharmed leg, but I'm faking a limp.
He looks at it for a moment and says, "Then perhaps we can help each other. Please, this way." And he beckons you as he leads. Hey?
Show me your supplies so I can patch it up.
He leads you in towards the building there, and you enter in upon to see there is in fact a I want to say a young-ish doctor administering a bandage and a poultice to a wounded fellow. He looks over towards you with a nod. "I'll be with you in a moment." The guard looks towards you and then just kind of sits in the doorway.
How bad's the smell of blood in here?
It's not terrible. Seems like the doc keeps it pretty clean.
Do I see any?
I guess the poultice that the guy is applying would be a bit soaked.
I avert my eyes from the bloodied body.
Okay. Looking away towards the sunlight, you squint hard against the horizon as dust is blown about against the destruction in the distance and the growing forms of civilization that threaten to be destroyed at a moment's notice. You hear something explode in the distance as a few guards in the distance remark about it, and the guard in the doorway reacts to it, looking out and then kind of sighting against the sun to see what he can see. He makes a clucking noise with his tongue in disapproval of whatever's just happened. The doctor finally finishes with the patient and then looks at you. "How can I help you?" he asks.
I've already fixed it.
The guard looks towards you from the doorway as the doctor looks at him and looks at you. "How can I help you then?" he asks again.
I fixed it just now as you guys were working.
He looks at you with a raised eyebrow and says, "Come here, sit. This cough of yours, what is this that I hear? Is a rasp in your throat? The sands have seemingly done something to you. I would not see you go without the check."
It's called lung cancer. I suppose you haven't heard of it.
The guard says, "Disease then is you." And he throws his mask up around his face. Because everyone has a mask in this world. But no, seriously. He throws a rag up, a sand rag as they might have, up around his face. And covers himself as a couple of folks nearby pull away. And the doctor himself looks at you and says, "Is this contagious, what you have?"
Fool, it's genetic.
He gives a nod at this. And he says, "Quite the fate then. What do you need?"
It's water.
He looks away towards his patients and then back towards the guard and says, "Take him, give him water. I have business to attend." And he waves over the next patient as the guard simply grabs you by the shoulder and says, "Come, I give you a skin. You are on your way then."
Do I walk past the body?
Walk past a body?
Yeah. Stick my whole hand in it, and then I pull it out real quickly. Make sure nobody notices.
In broad daylight while you're walking alongside the guard?
Oh. Would he, have his eyes on me, or be focused on walking, ahead?
That's a good question. I don't know. He might notice when you pull your hand out of the body and it's covered in body, but that's just me. I mean, are you going to lick it clean too? I don't know what you're intending. Is this going to be through the skin? You're going to puncture it and it's going to go, or are you just going to try to go for an orifice? What's the plan here? You tell me, Chief. What's up?
So I would assume since it's basically a war zone outside.
Well, I mean, ways away, it's a war zone. As I said, you come to a perimeter where these guys are holding some peace, and so there's some semblance of civilization, and the guards here, in plentiful numbers, are trying to maintain that. So
this guy's not severely injured. Okay. Then I once again try not to look at the corpse. Or not the corpse. You do slightly injured man. Me walking with the guard. Maybe when we let out a few coughs, a silent fart. Nobody will smell it.
You're handed a leather water skin, half full, and told to have a wonderful day. We watch as you enter upon the civilized portion of the city. Where are you headed?
I immediately fuck off from the guards because they make me nervous.
Okay.
I'll walk towards maybe a fence maybe like somewhere with a golem around it. Or just take a random direction, you know. Because my home is basically destroyed, so I'll need to look for another one. Relatively empty area.
Fair enough. So it is. As you make your way through the streets, you find yourself wandering for hours until you come towards the north end where the perimeter seems to be held well, although in the distance you can hear the raging fights between those who would bring the fight upon. That said, aimless as you are and searching for a spot, you can roll me an investigation.
23.
It becomes apparent before long that despite the many opportunities for a place to reside, with all the guerrilla warfare, anywhere is a possible... nowhere is a viable base for long. You decide, or rather incite, that to be outside the city on its perimeter might be best. Unless you wanted to do something drastic.
No, it sounds like the best bet for me would just be on the perimeter.
Okay. As you look back towards the center of the city where you walked from, the many guards and safety that they provide, you look out north past the walls of the city to the outskirts where the farmsteads and some semblance of sanity might still reside. There's a cross-fading montage of you making your way, picking your way through the streets, on and out of the city. And coming to the outskirts, you see the race paddocks off in the distance. And beyond that, the industrial areas where there's pottery and dyes being mixed and alcohol fermenting and so forth. Farmlands and that sort. You can see guards lining up against where the race paddocks start. There resides many buildings, residences, and peoples. Friendly, you're sure. But more to the point, the safety. Protected by that wall of guards that is responsible for defending this race that happens, that so many people seem upset about.
I've always been confused and God, what's that word?
Fascinated?
Yeah, fascinated about the reason the rebellion started with all the people. So I go on against my better nature to investigate what's up at the races.
Fair enough.
Just ignoring my brain, following my heart.
As you make your way towards the paddocks, you find yourself back amidst several buildings. Walking along, you hear shouting, screeching, you hear jeering, and you hear orders being shouted. You hear begging, cries of desperation, and amidst it all, you see ahead of you the large chromed hull of a recognizable vessel making its way along. Never mind. Nah, that timing doesn't work out. Anyway, as that all happens, we crossfade back, time dilation being what it is, to you guys up top.
By the way, you can't see the scene.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Just gotta get music first, though. Totally need it.
Try not to commit vehicular homicide.
We're gonna be looking for a guy named Felix.
We don't have enough oil to do that.
Is our hatch to the roof still functioning?
Well, I was seeing if we could bar them down.
I don't think they ever got broke.
Man.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, I was thinking I could just pop up there and let them all know who I am and that they should move.
That always goes well. Knock on the
Oh,
door.
you're not gonna shatter?
I don't have very many spells at this point, but
Just
yeah,
blow
just
the guy down.
make the crowd fucking explode.
Valkyr guide me.
I can get out and, thunder wave.
No, you just need that acid breath. Melt a couple people and you're fine.
Well, that's 2 separate turns. It's not an AoE. Or wait a
Oh,
minute,
they
you
did-
mean the breath?
It doesn't need to be. It just has to show something. A show of force.
It'd be like a Mortal Kombat acid. It just like turns
Exactly.
the bones and falls over. I already used my breath weapon. That would have been AoE.
I'm actually shocked a lot of us lived that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got lucky with that
Me
crit.
too.
I know. It's like, shoot.
Yeah, that was the perfect time for a 20.
He said it was like sailors protesting the guards there.
Yeah, it was the Navy,
Yep.
is what he said.
Maybe you can buddy.
String them up, boys.
Bjorn's gonna go
All
up and
guards
try
are
to convince them.
bastards.
Dude, Bjorn's
There
gonna
you
try
go.
to convince them, and then he's gonna go and join them.
It's gonna be part of it. He'll be like, "Yeah, be back. This is gonna be like his Mardi Gras."
It's funny we survived, but I still feel defeated.
Oh, you definitely were defeated.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. That was like a pity victory.
We got our asses handed to us, and that stupid thing is still out there.
Yeah, but it's like stuck in a cage. It's fine.
If we only had our original face, he could try and convince the protesters that we had stolen this vehicle for some bastard racers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only somebody didn't try to trip the old man.
We could prop him up and do like a weekend at Bernie's. Like, we're with you. I gotta say, Felix, though, I'm interested in understanding what the hell's going on with your character.
Yeah, that should be cool.
It's been very good so far, Sneaker.
Well, he's gonna come to our team, and we're all gonna get sick and then die.
It actually is the plague.
I really think we try and act like we stole the thing. We're like, we got it.
Woo! What if they try to strip it?
Well, I mean, you can still get pissed about the shit you stole.
That's true.
My background is the interior of our bus. A nice leather and cup holders.
You know, I couldn't tell from the picture. I was like,
meat.
is that zebra print? Yeah.
This is gonna be Baron's death scene. He's gonna be in a nice pimped out bus.
Sounds good.
With an engine that isn't leaking oil and falling apart.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that always has an extra gear.
Hold on for 1 second.
Always go faster.
Is that going overtime?
The same as a movie, you're about to lose, and then suddenly, oh, I have one more gear.
That extra can of nos. Oh, look at that.
Oh my god, I can't believe that game went to overtime.
Sorry, guys.
didn't realize it, but my camera like died like 30 minutes ago, I think.
That
Yeah,
sucks.
it's been dead for a while.
That sucks.
That means all those facial expressions you were making were all for naught.
Yeah, given that you had like a picture up for your camera anyway to begin with.
Yeah, I switched it just now.
So your picture died? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, the camera died.
Anyway, speaking of cameras, it crossfades from our doctor fellow having made his way out of the town, realizing that there is no welcoming place in a city filled with guerrilla rebels. You find yourself situated at the edge of the building, looking down upon, and across from you sits all of you, situated behind the windscreen, staring out through that thick crystal surface towards the crowd spreading out.
I'm gonna pop open the hatch and stick my head out.
Don't piss them off.
No, I won't piss him off. And I'm gonna yell to the crowd, by Valkyrie, let us through. We've got no quarrel.
You chuff forth, the counter penning against you to show as you walk into view and shout this out. The crowd ahead. I got the camera. As it pans over to the side and shows the whole of the scene, your command over it becomes very apparent. As one of the individuals throws a pot into a sling and, giving it a whip, hurls it towards you. With a 10+ bonus, it wails past your head, sailing away and smashing against the distant structure, fluid bursting against its stone as it then bursts into flames. A bunch of jeering follows, many of the crowd shouting out towards you.
Okay. I'm gonna use thaumaturgy to raise my voice a little bit here. I'm gonna yell out, I'm Bjorn the Ballista Proof, wounder of dragons, survivor of robots. I have no quarrel with you.
One of them from the nearby rooftops shouts down, "You're one of the great race, one of the scourge upon this city, one of those who are responsible for all that is but a plague upon this town, its people. You have no place here. This machine, this accursed thing, this bastardization of what is. You," he shouts down as you see several people huddled nearby him. They're kind of like, bantering back and forth as they're pointing down towards you. Do you say anything, do anything as he's yammering along? He's just monologuing.
I mean, we're trying to leave this place. Like, you don't want us here, then let us go.
From the jeering crowd in the back, someone shouts, "They go in flames!" A bunch of other people shout their agreement. The one on the rooftop simply gestures towards the crowd. "The people have spoken!" And he reaches a hand down towards the huddled figures, and one of them hands him an urn. And he kind of does one of these, getting ready to maybe throw it. Maybe he's just threatening.
It's sort of,
Where am I
you this
located?
guy off?
I'm located above, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those roofs.
Sure.
So, this is the guy that's saying something.
Okay.
You are here.
Okay, so I'm by the statues, right? Okay. Can I hear the shouting and everything?
100%. Well, sort of. You can hear bits of it. You can hear that there is shouting. You can't necessarily hear what they're saying too clearly.
Okay.
Is there room for Sork to squeeze up the hatch with Bjorn? With your hand.
I was saying that Bjorn actually got out onto the rooftop so that he could see out ahead and... Hey?
And really strike a pose.
Yeah, show himself off. Crystal candy cane armor that he got,
Bjorn doesn't go half-assed, right?
T-pose.
I'm gonna put my hand up to my mouth and make like an owl sound and see if I hear any response.
As you do so, it's only but a moment later that you hear Gunga Jin, your faithful friend, somewhere nearby, across the street in one of the buildings, clearly having taken cover and prepared to strike at a moment's notice.
Okay. With hearing that, I'll get back onto my feet and look down. Is that man down below me still giving orders? Still pointing and stuff?
And the guards are still getting strung up to the point that they're pretty much done and ready to be hung. And people are pulling out logs and branches and getting ready to beat the crap out of them. Hang on a second. Hey, guys.
So scared.
You guys are heading to bed? You guys are good? Go to bed and stay in bed, please. Good night, guys. Love you. As we were.
With that, I'll look down and I'll gracefully just take a step off the ledge.
All right.
And go to drop down.
Are you trying to drop onto one of the protesters or amidst them?
I want to drop in between them and the guards if possible.
It is possible.
Okay.
Hit. So this is about a 30-foot drop, just 25 feet, I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'll use my slow fall.
Okay, very good. Do you want to do 3-prong pose or anything like that? Hero pose? Anything like that as you drop down?
Hero landing.
Hero landing?
Yeah, I'll do the little...
Bjorn, you watch as out of the shadow of the statue, a stout figure drops down. Rippling, billowing cloth ribbons about as he streamers down to the ground, landing ever so forcefully and elegantly amidst the many peoples. You then, a moment later, watch swiftly, like a wind, like a shadow, another figure runs along and places himself nearby, situated amidst the many of the crowd. He runs in and a moment later blends in with the many of them, their confused forms looking around towards the sudden appearance of these two individuals. As you land down on the ground, you look over towards Gunga Jin, the old man, with his long flowing beard and his long flowing robes, as he gives a over towards you, which means he's ready. It's good to rock and roll. And then get hot dogs after.
I'll give him a light nod and I'll flick my hood off. And I'll start pacing in between the guards and the rebels.
As many of the rebels suddenly and surprisingly look away from each other, focused on you, and step away from each other, giving you birth. The one individual, the loudmouth, looks over towards you. Who do you think you are? He says, as he points towards you, just points angrily towards you.
Who am I, you say? Who am I?
Is there anything nearby that I can grab? Are any of them holding like a staff or anything? Like
They've all got like random implements here. There's one of them totally has like a broken broom that seems to be a pretty decent quarterstaff, especially for your height. Stout rod.
Okay. Can I just go to like snatch it out of his hand quickly?
You can.
Okay. So I'll pass by him and I'll grab it out of his hand quickly, but I won't attack or anything. I'll just grab it out of his hand.
My name is Garnet. Garnet Stoneskin. And you've got about 3 seconds to tell me what in hell's name you're doing here and why these men are being strung up.
And with that, I'll start tapping the stick in a very monotonous manner.
As the figure looks towards you, you see one of his eyebrows raise up, and he goes a bit wide-eyed, and he says, "You're stone-faced, come here, huh? You bear no power here. You kill me, 1,000 more rise. See my brothers and sisters!" And you see all the people around him rise up in cheering for him, and a bunch of people tug at the ropes of the guards, and the one guy rushes in towards you. And ahead of you guys, you watch as the crowd suddenly focuses in towards the one figure, as the old man off to the side looks over towards your bus. And in this moment, as everything freezes for a brief second, Bjorn watches everything playing out. Sorth can see everything going from the back of the bus, and everybody else is inside the bus seeing it from the windscreen out. Who's driving?
Barry's riding.
What do you do, Barry? Everything seems paused. Everything seems to just stop for the moment as you stare ahead.
Barry takes off his shirt.
As you focus upon the crowd and see all the action playing out, you see the road on the right is a bit sparse of people, and the road on the left might be out for a moment. Sorry, you were saying?
I was gonna say or ask if I could see Garnet and see what he's doing.
You look ahead to see the dwarven figure amidst the crowd, swallowed up by the activity all around. From the windscreen of the van, you can't see shit. The form figure is gone, but the old man nearby, with his flowing robes and way too much energy, seems ready to rock and roll, as I mentioned. So, that said, what does Barium do?
Said the road to the right was a bit sparse, right?
I did.
Can I shout out to Bjorn and see if he can see anything? Like anything that I can't see, because obviously he's up top.
You yell out towards. Sorth can hear you easily enough.
Hey, Sorth, how's it looking up there?
The situation just got a little more interesting.
Do you see any way out?
I can see the... Looks clear to me.
I'm gonna pull us over. Hold on.
So I'm kind of ready just in case someone tries to stop us along the way.
Okay. So I'm assuming Barium's doing something drastic, interesting, crazy.
Well, I'm trying to take off to the right. If anybody stands in the way, I'm not going to swerve.
As you look over towards the right, and then the left, and the center where the action is just suddenly beginning to explode, you rev the engine and let her rip. As the Decius Valvulus suddenly springs to life, and you scream away, hauling against the roadways as hard as you can. Bjorn, you hold fast, throwing me a dex save as the bus swerves around and heads down towards the road.
16.
Easily do you hold to your position as your sea legs, strong and stoic, hold you as a statue against the torrential movements Sorth holding to the ring, the hatch holding you in position. You watch as the crowd rages and jeers, many of them throwing things, and yet many of them looking away, paying more attention to the ultra-violence exploding within them. Is that going to play the way I want it? As you pilot ahead towards the few peoples, one of them stands stubborn against the front of the bus as you simply stare him in the eyes for the brief moment before you feel his sudden thud against the hull of the bus. The body going under the wheels as the whole of the form suddenly rises up and over and continues on down the stretch. Whoops, 5 year. The rest of the people's doing their best to dodge over it. The one having decided martyrdom is the best way. You guys make your way hurtling past and off towards the paddocks, leaving behind a scene of incredible prowess and passion as the protests rage on across the city. There's a little bit of a montage that shows Gungajin and this Garnet completely tool up the protesters, tearing them asunder and throwing their bodies about. The guards escaping freed and bruised, beaten as they are, and eventually the two of them parting ways. One of them with their newly acquired lieutenant in tow. As Garnet looks over towards the horizon, having climbed back up to scout his next location, you have many destinations that you could take, but you don't know where the next lieutenant might be. Wounded from your battles, well, not wounded, but a bit tired, and peckish for some rice, maybe. As you look about the city, the horizon bears all sorts of opportunities. Tushburl is a broad bitch, ripe for all sorts of pickings, depending on where you want to go and investigate.
So, I have the lieutenant with me, you said, right?
Actually, Gunga Jin takes him.
Gunga Jin takes him. Before he left, was I able to question him and ask any questions about where other protests might be taking place, or where the action is, or where,
During the
where
fight,
are we supposed to meet?
the guy threatens all sorts of things, says all sorts of things, claims all sorts of things. But when time comes and you go to question him, he smiles and he punches himself in the jaw and spits his tongue out in front of you.
Wow, okay. These guys are hardcore. Okay. Do I...
Take my whole adult life here and just leave and they'll take over anyways?
When you're that passionate, shit.
They just wanted more.
It's really what it's about.
Where did the guards go?
How bad do you want it? Come on, man. That's great.
Did the guards go somewhere in particular? Did they say anything?
They escape running away down the street. You imagine they're headed towards what you know to be a nearby barracks.
Okay.
If it's still standing.
Okay.
A few of the protesters never engage. They kind of just sit back, not brave enough to do anything. After you finish leveling the many that want to express themselves politically, the ones at the outskirts kind of just slowly fuck off, ebbing away from you guys.
Okay. I'm just gonna continue up the road. I'm gonna take that trusty stick that I took from that guy, and I'm gonna throw it in the air. It's flailing in the air, and whatever way it goes, it's the direction I'll take.
As it lands, it clatters down north and south. And while there is a road curving away to the north, there's only a road, southeast and west from here.
Well, with that, I'll take the most clear path. You said the north was pointing directly down the north.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that path then.
As you look towards it in the outskirts where the race paddocks sit, you sight towards possible fate. As you march along, the camera crossfades to show the chromed hulk of the bus as it chuffs into station. This one.
I'm surprised that you died.
Thanks, man.
We were smart this time. Let's not attack everybody.
Well, they let us through.
Yeah.
They heard who I was, so they moved out of the way.
Maybe they heard the bus and moved on over.
As you guys, save for the one guy who was like a little too passionate, but pulling into station, the first thing that catches your attention is the Pasha situated out front, like a concerned parent. Smoking a pipe, he stares out across the horizon, and as he sees you round the corner, you can see his eyes widen up. Even from this distance, his facial features are very apparent. His surprise and, you want to say, pleasure at your arrival is unabated. As you close the distance upon the race paddocks, you see the few mechanics littered about, awaiting your arrival. Barium's crew with a sudden surprise in their step, in fact, as they rouse from their seats where you can see dust has outlined their ass cheeks. As you come towards, chuffing to a halt, gearing the bus down, the valvulus giving its last chuff, it burbles some as a bit of oil seeps and then spurts its last as the engine shuts down. You wrench the door open, I'm assuming. It gives a hard screech as sand in the slides falls away. The Pasha hasn't moved from the edge of the garage, but he has turned sidelong to look towards you. And you can see Mansour walking into frame of the doorway as you were looking out it towards them. And Mansour's kind of standing, the vizier, midway between you and the Pasha. So the Pasha's like over at the garage doorway, and then there's the vizier, who's situated kind of like this, doing the hand in robe sleeve thing. As the Pasha sits there, and he's got kind of the stout Gandalf pipe, if you will, and he's puffing away over there at the far end. The sun's slowly ebbing at this point in the day, as it's just afternoon. Who's doing what, gents?
I'm not there, right?
Sorry?
I'm not there, right?
Not just as yet.
Okay.
I'm
Did
gonna
we actually make it to the garage?
Yeah.
You guys did, yeah.
Over to the bus, kind of cradling around.
As you appear in the doorway, the Pasha doesn't react at first. You walking along, I'm assuming. Who's next? Laz, Sorth, Barium. Who's walking out of the bus next?
I'm gonna follow Bjorn with Orion.
Okay.
might as well pop out at the end. You're not really in a rush to go anywhere.
That's fine. And Sorth to follow after that.
Yep.
Holding the diminutive, desiccated form of your once companion, the Vizier simply lowers his eyes, looks over towards the Pasha, turning away, and begins to walk away from you as you walk in towards the Pasha, who at this point himself walks in towards where the Vizier and you eventually meet, just inside the sunlit doorway. As you stand in the shade next to the contrasting light, you, I'm assuming, present Orion's body?
Yeah, I'll put him down. The robot in the junkyard got him. He lacked faith.
What happened to him? What is this that you bring to me? He says as he looks down upon it. And he taps out his pipe and then simply pockets it in his robe. And he kneels down. As he situates himself next to him, he kind of just feels his skin, giving a light caress of his cheek and looking at his face. Look at this. Aye. And he finally rises up after a moment. I did not care for him as much as some, but he had passion. He had. Oh, can we do something for this, Mansoor? And he looks over towards him, and Mansoor gives him a regard. I do not know, my Pasha. Perhaps there is a cleric in town. He can rise him, but with the rebellion, there is very little chance of finding. I can see about this, but I cannot promise anything. There is not much opportunity to see these sort of services during such martial incident. Shall I look into this? And he looks over towards the lot of you, and the Pasha looks at you all. Yes, my condolences, I must ask. Do you wish us to see if we can possibly find somebody to service this corpse, perhaps a faith to bring him his spirit back? I have heard of these. Perhaps a city such as Tashpuro. Were it not such, this place has everything. But now it has but anger and violence. And now, I'm sorry, I wax. Wax, yes. He looks over towards Mansoor, and Mansoor just gives him a dead stare and then looks at the lot of you. I can see who it may be. However, I have not much hope. And he gives a nod at you all and turns around as he walks away. The Pasha looks up at you.
I mean, Cody, do you want us to try it? Or are you wanting to play a new character?
Oh, he's onto a new character, make no mistake.
Well, I'm onto a new character. But like, you can try it if you want. I don't know. Maybe it's
You can
something
double
I'll do.
time it, don't worry.
Arian wants to approach the Orion's body because he recalls having a conversation to check Orion about a note that he has on.
Okay, you pull it out. It says delete my porn history. Anyway. My porn scrolls, burn them.
Hey, may I voice the note?
Oh, by all means.
Alright, Barry, are you looking at the note?
Yes.
Try to imagine the words highlighting or like a little dagger jumping around on him as he says them.
My dearest friends and crew members, if you are reading this, it is because something has happened to me. Maybe I am dead. Maybe I am lost. Maybe I simply left my tunic at the bar. But if you are reading this, just know that if I am dead, and it beseeches you to bring me back, or try, you may. If not, I leave to you all of my worldly possessions, which are hidden inside of my pockets, and in the lockbox I stole from Rico. The key is in my boot. I want to thank you all for being the greatest crew I ever had. And if we do meet again, I assure you it will be one hell of a ride. But nonetheless, get out there and win the great race. Sincerely, Orion, Douglas, Triggerfinger.
I choked back some tears, but like my last memory of him was him talking an old man to Robin, so I'm not really ready to bring him back either.
There was good times, there was bad times.
Yeah, he was part of my crew. I'd hoped to lead him to better ways, but mostly he led me to worse, so...
Arian's gonna be like super determined to try and bring him back.
Sorf has absolutely no emotion whatsoever to this.
It just shows like a couple of sad faces, and then your completely stoic lizardly self staring, and then
scratching his butt.
Yeah, looking around as the tail flips. Makes sense.
Decide if he eats him or not.
Right? Can I eat him now?
I was debating, but I already heard he was kind of rotting. He's like,
Well, I mean, some things can be flavorful when they're rotting. I mean, that's fragrant and shit.
Shark meat, apparently.
Right? You know? Sorry, getting on with it, the Pasha, he looks about and he says, "This is terrible. This is such a shame. Why was this? What happened? Please." And he gets up, and you can see he's like had a rough time of something. And he walks over towards a tool chest and and he sits down upon it. Tell me. And he pulls out a pipe, starts to ignite it.
I'll relay what happened. How we had found a new vehicle and he had tried to steal it unsuccessfully, and finally picked a fight with someone that we couldn't handle.
He doesn't say anything. He just listens. Smokes. Stares. He looks around now and again as you say certain things, but he doesn't really look to any context. He doesn't look at a person when they're mentioned. He looks kind of elsewhere. Or he'll look at a person when something is just mentioned at random. He listens intently, processes for a moment awkwardly afterwards as he stares around, some smoking some more. And then finally says, "So it is. He tried to rob an old man." He stares at you for a moment, and then looks across at the lizard. And then he looks down at the body, and then he looks back at Bjorn, and he says, "What do you wish to do with your friend?" And then he looks at Laz. "Do you have rights for this man? Do you have burials?" He looks over towards Barium. "What do we do with our dead?" "I have not had the crew that has lost it as you." He stares down for a moment. "What is it you shall do?"
We bring him back.
He gives a nod at this. "Then he shall be put to the side. We shall put him in a box. Put him in a box. And should we find a cleric, then he shall be raised." He gives a nod. The moment passes.
He hasn't been sure, but he was our ally. And he was loyal. Friend.
Barium's voiceover echoes across the montage of you guys boxing the little body and putting him off to the side. Camera pans against Hamid's face as the Pasha looks upon you all. And he says, "So, We've lost a crew member. Three of them. I've lost count. And we seem to have repaired some of the bus. He looks up towards it, hands interlaced to see. Has a bit of a pious stance to himself as he looks up towards it and says, what is it that we shall do then? What do we propose? More parts, I should think, huh? You have the labors that you need, Barium, to make this for tomorrow.
I hope so. Oh wait, my bad.
I hope so.
He looks towards you and then with a lingering gaze, stares at the bus as he walks backwards to kind of take the whole of it in frame. Like he looks at all of you together and he says, good. There's quite the hellscape out there. I'm sure Mansour will do what he can. I will talk to him of seeking supplies. Everything is difficult here for the rebellion. You understand? He seems to take a very pious tone.
What's the cause of this rebellion?
He gives a slight guffaw and sits back down on the tool chest. There has been an eruption of emotion, it seems. Sense has gone out the window in favor of a movement towards the de-seating of those powers that are responsible for this race, having blamed them for an oppression of the people, a robbery of the people. You see, when the race is held, there are lands stricken from hands. People lose rights to property in favor of routes to pass through their areas. It is a defilement, so to speak, as one of those who is so angry as they are. This is what they say. They are roused. Some say, Mansour, he say this. I have not heard. I have heard of this. It is a rumor. They do not. There is a alleged group of a form of banditry. They are known as the Scarabs. So Mansour say, but I have heard of this. They are they're a legend, I swear. And as he looks out into the distance and says, you hear the violence. You hear it echoing away. Listen to that violence. That is some violence. Right on, buddy. Cool, man. That's cool. Some guy in a plumbing van has no idea how to drive it, and so he just shows up. Then he's like, oh, he's got to reverse. He's doing like an 8-point turn. The thing's just beeping away. Anyway. And then after the violence ebbs, he looks back towards you. That was awkward, he says.
That was some beepy violence.
Hey, yo, 8-point turn. I'll be right back. Talking to us in Morse, I tell ya. There's communication there.
Beep, beep.
That was a plumbing van? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny. Yeah, it's totally up to you guys. No pressure. I can play the new character or not. Or
I can tell you,
play the new character for a while, and
Yeah.
if Orion comes back somehow from the dead later on, that'd kind of be a cool thing too.
Gonna come assassinate Garnet.
Now, as he's looking towards you guys, you see him suddenly kind of begin to cough a little bit, and as he pulls out a rag suddenly, he starts to cough harder and harder into it, and it's almost a pathetic convulsing after a half minute that he gets under control. And as he puts the rag away, giving it a quick whip, you can see a splutch of phlegmy blood splut onto the sandy pavement. And he looks at it for a moment and just grinds it out. And then folds the rag and rubs it, drying it off, and shoves it away. Ugh, he says, my body is not appreciating the southern end of Kalimshan. Aye. So, perhaps more wine and another something fleshy to enjoy. Aye. He weakly gets up off the tool chest, pulling himself to his feet, and looks towards you and says, if only there was a cleric to be found anywhere in this terrible place. And he looks towards Bjorn and says, no offense, Sir Knight.
Not my domain.
He gives a nod at this, and after composing himself a moment, he looks at his pipe and puts that away, and says, Mansour thinks perhaps it is my habits that are finally catching up to me. Anyhow, we will seek out anything you need, Barium. And we will seek upon a cleric for our friend. And myself. Ooh. And as he looks out towards the garage door again, the camera crossfades. Shows a montage of you guys enjoying a barbecue of sorts. There's a couple of the other race teams out having barbecues of their own. And you guys watch as in the distance there's a spindly form in a long coat picking his way through the paddocks, milling amongst its people. Smell of spiced meat all around you as Felix walks along, seeing the many peoples conducting themselves, enjoying a dinner of whatever they might be cooking out on a fire that evening. As you look this way and that, you see the many peoples looking at each other, talking about whatever, large machines all around. Massive chunks of metal on large circular wheels. You see each and every one of the crews either boisterous or otherwise quiet in their camaraderie, but comrades all the same.
How muscular are they?
They range.
Specifically on that.
They range in size, shape, all sorts of peoples along here. There are guards milling amidst the paddocks. Not many, a few. And more to the point, a perimeter of them at the far end of the paddock, keeping the peoples of the city at bay.
And this is at the race?
This is at the race paddocks. Your vehicle is, the vehicles are surrounding you in these bays, and the bays are more or less, they can be open air with like a wall opened up, or they can have a door open or something to that effect. But otherwise, they're quite large, typically like 2-3 stories in some cases. And while they're narrow, they are deep. So they might be like 50 feet in depth and then 20 feet wide, that sort of thing.
I see the vehicles, right? Do any of them like pop out to me?
There are many sorts of strange and interesting looking vessels. But as you're walking along, you hear a tall, regal-voiced individual asking in common, "Do you know of the doctor? Do you know of any clerics around here?" And looking over towards him, you see the large fellow speaking to a few of the nearby paddock's crew people.
Looking back to what I've been through recently, and knowing that I was unable to pick up my clippers when I was fleeing my clinic, I'm kind of low on coin right now, so I would go to the man and inquire. Yes, I am a doctor.
The tall, spindly fellow looks towards you and says, "I am sorry, you seem like perhaps you need a doctor."
Oh, it's just my voice.
He regards this after a moment and says,
And I show him my fake doctor's license. It's clearly scribbled in like crayon, if crayons exist.
throw me, what is it, deception? What's the skill called?
Deception, I guess.
No, shit. Is it? I can never remember. I rarely use it.
Persuasion?
Is that all there is? I can never remember if there's another one.
It's deception. There's deception.
There is deception? Thank you.
There's a forger's kit as well.
Yeah. So that said, go ahead, throw deception. I'll be right back. Sorry, one second.
Wow. 60 minus 115. If that didn't work, I would have put it in the way.
Sorry?
I got 15.
Okay. The tall, black-haired figure with the mustache and beard, in his regal robe and such, simply looks down at you and, after a moment of considering, gives a nod and a shrug and says, "There is so little option out here, I truthfully cannot take the opportunity to pass up."
I flash my big smile.
He stares at your smile for a moment, and then walks, saying, "Follow me."
I'll follow closely. A little bit too close, maybe. So, what do you guys think of my smoker voice?
Pretty good.
Yeah? I've been practicing it.
Smoking 3 packs a day?
He just walks around creeping people out when he goes to get on the bus.
Yeah.
Go in public, find a group of smokers and start talking like that. See if you fit in.
I started doing aerobics outside of the fucking airport where all the smokers are.
So, as you come upon the paddock, you can see there a large rectangular vehicle that you think you recognize. The camera pans against your face as you're brought inside, the darkness allowing your eyes to relax some as you are introduced to one Hamid, allegedly a pasha of some form of guild. You don't really... Hey?
Handshake him.
Huh?
Am I close enough for him?
Yep,
I actually get a handshake in.
you do so.
Nice and strong. I squeeze really hard.
He seems pretty strong.
Does he win?
Hey?
Does he win in the strength?
Good question. I don't know. But, you want to roll it? Let's roll it.
Alright. Okay.
He rolls a 17. Gives you a nice firm grip.
I grow even more excited. Nice to meet you.
The Pasha gives a cockeyed stare towards Mansoor and then looks at you and says, Mansoor, who is this you brought me? Who is this? Mansoor gives a shrug. He claims he is a doctor. I believe perhaps he may help
Really?
to the stream.
Can't hear it on our end.
Yeah, it sounds good on Zoom.
Dang. I liked that I got jumped at the end. I can finally shoot something. Why I got jumped at the end by a monster. Yeah, I can finally kill something. I love killing things.
Yeah.
I-
Gary all over again.
Wouldn't be the first time,
No.
or the second, or third.
I was planning on making my character a diva queen, but I felt like it would be too hard. Plus, making that voice, I couldn't like talk that much. It would just absolutely shred it. Yeah, that's about it. Pretty good.
I really liked this session in terms of like character building and lore and all that. Like I think it was a good time to kind of slow things down and kind of get a grip on where all the characters are right now in the story. Considering they just spent the last 2 sessions getting their asses kicked and almost dying. So,
Fair enough. Yeah.
it was kind of a nice way to like, okay, let's like bring it all in. This is pretty much just one of those filler episodes from Naruto, but it's needed, right?
Yeah, it's bringing everything together.
Yeah. And then there's some juicy bits in there, like Pasha's sick and all that. I really liked being able to read that note from the perspective of Orion. That was probably one of my favorite parts. Like the one-on-one dialogues. I'm very interested in Felix's character. It's kind of intriguing and not sure what to expect. And I'm really interested to see where we go from here because there's no clear path. There's like you kind of gave us 2 options, but it kind of seems fairly open to whatever we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just gotta kind of get out there and whatever comes to us will come to us. So
yeah, largely I will admit, I was looking for you guys maybe to investigate and work angles and whatnot, and with everything going on, it's a lot. Oh wow! Now all the desktop audio is fucked up. Weird. What the fuck? What the hell?
Is that Laz's axe?
Yeah, maybe all the audio's cut off. Anyway, I'm looking for whatever from you guys. I don't wanna lead you by the nose too much. I don't want it to be too linear when you get to here. I just wanted to kind of leave it so you guys could conduct a bit of detective work around. So there's like a couple leads and whatnot that you guys can follow up on. But yeah, largely I haven't really presented anything because it's not about you guys in this place, right? And so it's very much this thing of I'm trying to. It's hard, man, trying to direct the story without really like leading you guys through it. Like the story's there
Without railroading.
Yeah, and providing you guys ample opportunity. Even if you're gonna bone it in the ass with a 6-foot cactus, man. Like even if you're gonna spear the old man, man.
Or chirp him.
Yeah, you know. But that's the thing is it behooves me to keep on that and basically keep from ham-fistedly directing you guys towards things, which is like I say by and large very difficult, but challenges challenges, that's what it is. But I very much like this episode. Believe it or not, despite being slower, it's you know, it did have moments where it serviced the story, provided opportunities for people to express their characters, and in general, it is a little bit of a world building episode to just kind of establish that, yeah, by the way, this is, you know, this is the world around you, not just, you know, background, but literally you're absorbed in it. So, right on. Everybody had fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Very cool.
So
with
you
that-
being Laz for Halloween?
No, this is my daughter decided to be Raya and the Last Dragon, so I'm playing who's the big brute dude? Tong,
Kong.
the big brute from the movie. So we're getting all the pieces are starting to come in. So my daughter got her sword, I've got his axe. But
nice.
yeah, I should probably hang it up behind me while we're. I didn't even think about
Yeah.
it. It just came in. It's like I've got a whole bag of props over here. I've got like the shawl for the dude, and my eye patch, all sorts of.
You gotta wear it one night.
There you go. For playing in character. Laz hasn't lost an eyeball yet, but it's not stopping him.
Anytime you attack, you have to chop towards the camera.
Right on, bud. I haven't decided what I'm going as for Halloween yet. That was The Witcher last year.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll just keep decking that out.
That was a good one.
It was a good one. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
get more armor this time around and really deck it out. Just keep developing the costume year after year.
Yeah, do it.
Cool. Glad everybody had fun. We'll go with another 1200 experience. For actually, you know what? We'll take 1500 experience for this one, since nobody killed any old men. It's always nice to make it through an episode without random murder, right? Let's face it. It's
That's right.
treasure.
Wait, we
Not
took
as
one
so
of
much
those.
every ever.
Oh yeah,
That
he
was
killed
his
one
own
person.
fault.
That was so sad.
This is the speed. We don't know if he died.
Hey,
You
you
know,
learn
everybody
as
just
a-
names them.
hey, you learn as a kid, you look both ways before you stand in a damn shoe.
When I walked in, I thought that I was gonna have to resurrect Cody with my doctor skills.
Oh god.
Oh, it'd been great.
I'd come back like a Full Metal Alchemist and in a suit of armor or missing my legs or some shit.
That'd be sick.
I don't think I'd allow that even on a nat 20. I'm just gonna go out here and say that. But it'd be neat, and blessed be the DM who wants to DM that game. Sounds like it would be a fun game.
Be a temporary thing where he comes back for a second, says, "Kill me," and then he just dies again.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Something out of Total Recall. Yeah, maybe we get into Gamma World. Maybe. It's been a pleasure once again, gentlemen, to be your Dungeon Master, your entertainer, and with you, my fantastic palette and plethora of personalities. I thank you once again for another fantastic night of adventure. And until next time, may your 20s always land on 20. Have a good night, all.
Thanks,
Until next time.
Yeah, have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks, Julie.
Cheers.
Have a good night, everybody. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
And if you like what you see, we stream every. Stop sharing that, I guess. Huh? We stream every Monday from 7-ish, 7:30, sometimes 8, depending on when we all put ass to seat, until about 10-ish, now-ish, whenever we finish. And as I said to my players, and I'll say unto you, thank you very much for joining us for this evening's adventure. Until next time, may your 20s always land on 20. As my 14, holy smoke. Have a good night, all.